Hi, welcome back to our channel, or welcome to our channel if you've never been here before. My name is Elayna.
I'm Olivia.
And we are sisters. And we are making mind moves. So today we're moving into our second part of our two-part grief series. We covered 4 of the 5 steps or stages of the Kubler-Ross grief cycle in our previous video. So if you haven't watched that already, I highly recommend that you watch that first and then come back here, because today we are diving into acceptance. What does it mean? How do we make that happen? How do we remain there? And also we want to cover specifically how to turn this coronavirus into opportunity. How do we get excited about the future?
There's 2 really fundamental abilities that you need to be able to say that you're ready for acceptance. And it's okay if you're not ready for acceptance, but you have to know. So in order to know, a good indicator is, are you able to identify what you're feeling? And are you able to express that in a healthy way? Those 2 things are fundamental to moving into acceptance, into being ready to actually accept the situation. When you're going through the previous stages, sometimes you're feeling a lot of things, especially right at the beginning. You don't know what you're feeling, or maybe you're feeling a lot and you just can't call specifically one out, or maybe you know that you're having a lot of feelings, but you're not sure where to map them back to. You're not really sure what the cause is. So you've got to be able to acknowledge your feelings, know what you're feeling, and then the second part of that is to be able to express it. So a very basic example would be, okay, I identify that I'm feeling stressed. What am I going to do? How am I going to express that? How am I going to let it out? How am I going to deal with it? I'm going to take a bubble bath. I'm going to talk to somebody. I'm going to journal. Any of those things is appropriate, but the point is that you were able to identify it and also express it. So once you're there, you're ready to move into acceptance. I want to start by kind of discussing what acceptance is and what it is not. Acceptance is moving forward with your emotions. It is not getting rid of them. It is not having them. It means you're moving forward and they're coming along. Acceptance is not resignation. Resigning is accepting defeat, and a better way to say that is resigning is making yourself a victim, and that takes you steps back, and we want to go forward. Acceptance means you're at peace. It doesn't mean that you're still dwelling in the situation. A part of acceptance is accepting the fact that feelings are normal reactions, and coming to a place of acceptance doesn't mean you're never going to feel those emotions again. Acceptance is about learning those emotions and turning them into something positive. Acceptance is going to help you go from just feeling happy to actually being happy. When you haven't reached acceptance yet, you can still feel happy in moments, but they'll be fleeting. And when you've come to true acceptance, underneath everything, you are happy. And you might have feelings on top of that. You're always going to have feelings on top of that. But when you come to a place of acceptance, that underlining feeling will kind of negate all of the other feelings that come up, or builds a really good foundation for you to stand on when you encounter more feelings, because life is going to continue to happen. So how are we going to get there? Again, it's going to happen in stages, but you just choose to accept yourself or the situation without judgment and without criticism.
It just is. This situation is not what we chose, obviously. If we could choose, we probably wouldn't be here. But it's also not our fault.
If you go into it knowing, I'm just going to ride this wave. We don't know when coronavirus, COVID is going to end. We don't know when we're going to go back to normal. We don't know. All we can accept is that we're going to ride the wave. We know that waves are going to come. We know that this is going to be hard, but we've accepted that. Another thing that I would like to mention is mindfulness. Mindfulness is going to pave the way to acceptance. Mindfulness, I want to clarify, is not the same as meditation. Mindfulness is understanding that all we have is right here and right now. Some ways to stay mindful are to use all 5 of your senses to do what's called grounding yourself. A technique that you can use when you are feeling a lot of feelings is to look at or identify a few things that you can see, a few things you can hear. What do you smell? What do you feel? What do you taste if you're eating? That's a really good way to ground yourself, and that brings you back to this present moment. This present moment is all that we have. Take one thing at a time. Choose to be here and be present. And if you need to, take some time to remind yourself, I'm safe right now. It's okay right now. Everything is fine right now. Saying those things to yourself can help you get out of that any feeling, but especially when you're feeling panicked or uncertain. Another action you can take is journaling. This is not something that has to be long and laborious and tedious. You don't even have to do it with pen and paper. Pretty sure Olivia doesn't do anything with pen and paper anymore.
I still have a weird attachment to it. But however you do it, it can be digital, on paper, whatever, but it doesn't have to be hours on end. You can do a few lines in the morning, a few lines in the afternoon, maybe a few lines at night, whatever works for you.
Writing out your feelings and even just writing out about the situation helps you to get some clarity on what you're feeling. Remember, what's important is to be able to identify how you're feeling. This can help you do that if you're not sure. It also allows you to accept those feelings, understand what they are, come to a realization that, okay, I'm feeling blank. I accept that. This is how I'm going to deal with it. So journaling can help you get to that place if you're struggling. So finally, something you can work on is gratitude. Keep your focus on what's going well, even if at first it's hard to identify even one thing. Sometimes things can feel so bad that there's nothing to be thankful for. So if you need assistance, if you have a home, you can be thankful for 4 walls, and that's it. You're done for the day. Write down or think, I am thankful for the 4 walls around me. That's it. It will get easier. That doesn't sound like it will make a difference, but it will, and you'll be able to identify more and more things that you're grateful for, that you appreciate, and pretty soon that's all your mind is going to be, is just an abundance of gratitude.
Again, all of these things take work. Like, this is not easy, and it's not really meant to be easy. Life's not meant to be easy. Be really gentle with yourself during this process. It's not pretty, but we all have to do it if we want to come to a place of peace and joy.
I found a quote that I wanted to share, and then a good analogy just to describe acceptance in general. So the quote is, "There is no formula for success except perhaps an unconditional acceptance of life and what it brings." And that's by Arthur Rubinstein. I don't know who he is, so if he has done terrible things, I apologize. And the analogy is, instead of staring at this one closed door, and sometimes we're even bruising ourselves trying to break that door down that's just not going to open, instead of doing that, turn around and see all the other doors and windows that are open for you.
That analogy was a really good segue into the next kind of piece of this discussion. So we talked about moving into acceptance, and once you pretty much get to that place where, like Elayna said, underlying all of these feelings you have going on, you're happy, you're content,
you're at peace with the situation. So once you get there, for the most part, stay there, you can start to see this crisis, this pandemic, in kind of a different light, be able to find ways to turn it into opportunity. So I'm not necessarily talking about a business opportunity, although that could be the case for you. This could be any aspect of your life. I saw a post that talked about how during previous plagues, hundreds of years ago, that's when, the Renaissance era was born. That's when people turned inward and started doing art. And all of these really good things came out of this negative thing. So, like Elayna said, when you consciously start to focus on good things, you kind of shift your mindset from only seeing the problems to starting to see the solutions. So in order to, and this applies to pretty much anything in life, this is a really good mindset to cultivate, because things that you once saw as major problems can be shrunk down into minor roadblocks. So the more you practice this, the better you'll get at it and the happier you will be in life.
The first thing to understand, if you've never really learned about Eastern philosophy or kind of any of this stuff that we're talking about, the universe or the world, whatever you want to call it, has opposites. And so there's up, there's down, there's black, there's white, there's hot and cold, and good and bad.
The law of polarity.
The law of polarity.
Every situation, everything in existence has two sides to it. And when we get into this time of struggle, it's very easy to focus only on the negative and on the bad. But just because that's there doesn't mean that the other side doesn't exist. In fact, it has to exist. Once you understand that and embrace it, you can start to seek out positive things. You can stop focusing all of your attention and your energy on the negative. We did our first video in this Coping with Corona series was on limiting media intake, and if you haven't watched that, check it out, because we talk about ways that you can consciously do this and start to shift what you're taking in from negative to positive. Like Elayna said, this can be journaling. You can keep a gratitude journal. Just every single day, make an effort to see something good. It could be your neighbor waved at you while you were getting your mail. You had some kind of human connection. Just really begin to appreciate those little things, and they will grow. The more you focus on the good things, the more that you will begin to see it. Where your attention goes, energy flows. I think that's from Dr. Joe Dispenza. That's a good starting point, is beginning to see the positive and focusing on that. And then a couple of things that you can do to really reflect on this situation, your own personal situation, and begin to take some steps forward. Again, the phase of acceptance involves making plans, moving on, looking forward to the future. I would suggest making a list of what it is you want to change when this is all over and what things you want to stay the same. So, for some of you who are at home with kids, maybe you realize, okay, they might be driving you nuts. You want to spend more time with them and you want to make them more of a priority. Or for me personally, I've realized that my first job that I want to get, I want it to be remote because I greatly enjoy making my own schedule, spending time with my lovely fur babies. That's something for me that I've taken from this situation where I realized I don't want a regular office 9-to-5 job. I've learned something from this situation that I'm going to carry forward. So make a list. It doesn't matter how long it is. It doesn't matter what aspect of your life it is. Just really reflect on what's transpired in your life, what you liked and what you didn't like. And then prioritize that list. What is the number one thing that you think would add value to your life, that would ignite some passion in you, or just get you out of a negative mindset? It could be really simple. Just as a starting point, kind of break down your list, your prioritized list, into short, medium, and long-term goals. The basics of goal setting just involves taking your large goal and breaking it down into steps. But if you just take one thing that you want to change and, just think about it, just form a timeline in your head, write down what steps you need to take to get there, and figure out something that works for you. Don't put so much burden on yourself to get this goal done. Break it down into a way where you can take small steps to making it happen. Once you have an idea of what your goals look like, they're broken down, just create a simple timeline for you. Maybe you're able to start right now. Maybe this is the perfect time to start while you're not working or you're in a different situation. Maybe it's not the right time and you need to wait. But regardless, make it something that you look forward to and that is going to add value to your life. This could be something really big. Maybe you're super inspired to start giving back to people who were really, really negatively affected by this. Maybe it's something really small, like I want to start doing a morning routine every day. Just make sure that it's something that works for you and that you will be proud of, and you can say, look, I went through this very difficult time and I've taken this negative situation and I've created something beautiful out of it. It doesn't matter what the situation is, if it's coronavirus, pandemic, or something else, there is always an opportunity to take something bad and turn it into something good, because again, that is the law of the universe. It is all about your mindset. Make those mind moves, baby.
If you don't get to acceptance before we get out of quarantine, or before the economy recovers, or before sometime after that, if you don't get to acceptance for months or years, that's okay. Even if you just write down one thing that you're thankful for, and that's all you can manage to do for the next 6 months or for the next year, that's okay. I think you'll be able to accomplish more. I think you'll surprise yourself, but just know that if you can't, it's totally fine. We don't mean to say that you've got to come out of this with a business idea or something extraordinary. You just got to come out of this loving yourself and a little bit better than before. That's it.
No, so I'm glad you said that, because I'm an overachiever and I have a tendency to think big. Not that that's a bad thing. But not everyone is like that, and that's okay. So I'm glad you pointed that out. Everyone is on different places in their own journey. A few years ago, I was not in the good mindset that I'm at in now. So I wouldn't have been thinking big a few years ago. I would have been thinking, how can I just not feel bad every day? So if that's where you're at, that's okay. And again, transforming crisis into opportunity doesn't have to be a big thing. It can be a gratitude journal every day. It can be just an act of self-love is really the most important and the first step that we recommend you taking.
Also, if you find yourself really struggling with any one of the stages of grief or acceptance, or just if you're really struggling in general, please reach out for help. Telehealth is bigger now than it was 6 weeks ago, so you can and should talk to somebody if you're struggling. We absolutely promote getting help. We believe that we have healed ourselves and that we all have the abilities to heal ourselves, but we do not mean to not promote getting help and seeking professional assistance when you're struggling. So you do what is best for you. We want you to be happy and healthy. And you can always reach out to us and we will talk to you. We are not professionals, but
we can chat.
We'll listen.
We're
good listeners.
stories.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, we truly appreciate your support and we hope that we are making some sort of difference in your lives. If you got something out of this, definitely share it with somebody who you think could benefit. Let us know in the comments, like the video, subscribe to our channel for more content like this. We kind of are trying to do a mixture of more serious topics with a little bit of fun, but all of it revolves around our passion for helping you make mind moves. We want to help you live your best life, And that means understanding your own mind and how to make positive changes to be happier and more fulfilled. So again, thank you guys. We will see you next week, and take care of yourselves. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Oh no, not the tickle. Sometimes I think I smile like the Grinch. Yeah. We have a Grinch smile.
Recording.
I wish I could do that.
Recording. Yeah, I can do it. I lied.
Oh, you're just trying to make me feel better?
No.
Okay.
I don't know why I lied.
Yeah. You want to be terminologically correct. Oh God, that's not a word.
Was it good?
Lame. I look like an alien.
You guys have to be so cute. You're so cute.
They're sleeping. Look at all that stuff going on over here. Oh my goodness. Who is that?
Hi, baby.
What is she doing?
Look at that.